Monday, everyone, and thanks so much for joining us tonight on UpNorthLive Unscripted at 6:30. I am Maya Engel, and I hope you all had a wonderful weekend. I hope your work week is off to a great start so far, but gosh, I know for me, when I woke up this morning, I was in a bit of shock at how cold it was because it's been pretty nice the past couple weeks, and today was definitely feeling more like fall out there. So for more on that, let's bring in our chief meteorologist, Joe Charlevoix. And Joe, earlier I asked you if this is it for the warm temperatures, if we're going to stick with this cooler weather, and you said not quite yet.
No, not yet. We get 2 days of it, today and tomorrow, and then we're going to warm right back up again. So you know what? You have kind of the best of both worlds this week. If you like the cool fall weather, enjoy today and tomorrow, and if you want a little taste of late summer, early fall, we'll have that coming up too. Some areas, though, did get some rain yesterday, Maya. That was good to see. We just needed some rain.
Yes.
And a couple showers will hang on. We'll have a little more of a look at that. And again, we mentioned that warm up later in the week. We'll take a look at those temperatures, how warm it gets a little later in the show.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, Joe. Let's start off with our top story of the day. That is, we are learning more about a deadly crash in Manistee County that happened last Friday night. So we know that 3 people were killed in this crash and 2 more were injured. As of right now, not much is being shared about who was involved in the crash. State police are not sharing the ages or identity of the driver or passengers, but we do know from multiple sources that some involved were high school students, and our Allie Baxter has the very latest.
A tragedy struck last Friday.
That tragedy, a single truck crash that 3 people didn't walk away from. A memorial now marks the spot on the Cleon Township Road where it happened late Friday night.
3 of the occupants succumbed to their injuries. The other 2 occupants were transported to the hospital with serious injuries.
Sergeant Ashley Miller with Michigan State Police says the crash happened after 11 p.m. A truck with 5 people inside was being driven down Reed Road when it went off the road and hit a tree. What caused the truck to leave the road still isn't known. Sergeant Miller says so far an investigation shows speed and alcohol could be factors in the crash.
We don't exactly know what happened in this situation, but, you know, if you can take anything away is, you know, life is really short. So make sure that you're taking accountability for your actions and other people too. You know, you see something, say something.
Sergeant Miller says this tragedy impacted multiple families, communities, and first responders, and asked to remember them as they navigate through a very difficult time.
We don't like to see anything like this happen, and we just want everyone to know that our thoughts and prayers are with everyone that's involved and any community members that this affects.
Benzie Central Schools shared a statement Monday afternoon saying they're mourning the loss of 2 students and that these students brought joy and laughter to many and that their absence will be profoundly felt. The school confirms there's counselors and social workers on site for support to students and staff.
And that was our Allie Baxter reporting. We also heard from Buckley Community Schools. The superintendent says a former student from Buckley Community Schools was also involved in the crash, and Buckley is providing counselors to students who have been impacted by this. Sergeant Miller says if anyone has any information on the crash that could help with the investigation, to contact the MSP Cadillac Post. Now turning over to some other local news, some East Jordan businesses are feeling on edge after 2 break-in sprees almost a month apart. While police are looking for a suspect, one business is actually offering a reward for any information. So our Daniel Zivian reports from Charlevoix County.
This is kind of a repeat thing for him. We must be his favorite 3 spots.
But this customer isn't just browsing. About a month ago, an unwanted guest broke into the Jordan Valley Glassworks.
They damaged the door and stole our cash register. We replaced everything thinking that would be a one and done. The next morning, we were broken into again. At the same time they broke into our place and stole our cash register, they broke into Ryan's Auto Care and Gilroy Hardware. They did some damage in both locations, and they stole money from Ryan's Auto Care.
Even with the damage, the break-ins might have been forgotten, but the same 3 businesses were broken into again last Monday. Haney says the suspect kicked in the air conditioner to enter the glassworks. No merchandise was stolen this time, but the costs are adding up.
We're out about $2 grand so far. replacing the cash register repeatedly and all the cash that was in there, plus the damages to the door and the air conditioner. We haven't even factored that in this last time.
Luckily, the Glassworks had installed security cameras, and that evidence is with the police. But Haney says without a suspect behind bars, local businesses are staying alert.
I mean, it's East Jordan. You know, the worst thing that we've ever had was Grandpa, who shouldn't be driving, was driving. You know, these things don't normally happen in such a cute little town. We were thankful he hasn't done any damage to the merchandise, but if he comes back again and he's frustrated, I don't know what he could do.
In East Jordan, Daniel Zivian, UpNorthLive News.
And Daniel did reach out to the other businesses that have been impacted by these break-ins, but they did not want to talk on camera. Well, the Cherry Capital Airport in Traverse City is another step closer to beginning a large expansion project. So today at a special meeting, the Northwest Regional Airport Authority got approval from both Grand Traverse and Leelanau counties to issue bonds to raise money for this expansion. And Cherry Capital Airport CEO Kevin Klein says this expansion is needed just due to the high number of passengers they've been seeing.
And to grow the current service we have to look at the facility we operate in. And this is what the facility looks like when it's packed. The increase in the number of passengers has stretched the current facilities to its maximum.
Now, this project still has a long way to go. The next step is for the Airport Authority Board to adopt and publish a notice of intent resolution for the project. They hope to do that by the end of the year. Now, here's a story that our anchor and reporter Mark Schlett worked on today. So there are 85,000 Michigan residents on a wait list for housing choice vouchers. Now, that's a program that helps those qualify afford rent. And in the process, it helps people maybe get out of homelessness or avoid becoming homeless. But for the past year, no new vouchers have been available, and that is creating concern. So here's Mark Schlett with that full story.
We are starting to see more people experiencing homelessness because that safety net is just not there right now.
In many ways, Goodwill Northern Michigan's been a safety net for the community, helping those in need in their time of need. And that includes finding something very elusive here: affordable housing.
Housing provides that stability in people's lives for them to get, more likely, if you have stable housing, more likely to be successful, being able to stay in a job, more likely to be successful in school.
One of the tools that Goodwill, other organizations, and residents of the state had in their corner was the MSHDA's Housing Choice Voucher Program, formerly known as Section 8.
So the Housing Choice Vouchers are for individuals who can't afford to get housing on their own.
Those who qualify pay roughly 30% of their rent, and the voucher, money from the federal government through MSHDA, pays the remaining 70%.
For people experiencing homelessness, for people who are low income, people who are on fixed incomes, people who are fleeing domestic violence. I mean, this is a really critical safety net for our community and for the whole state.
But as the cost of rent has gone up and funding from HUD and Washington has stayed relatively flat, MSHDA's had to scale back. While demand for the service has grown, the cost to provide it has just as much.
We began to see an increase in our monthly costs. Again, in large part due to inflation, the cost in rental housing, our families and their income levels. So as families' income levels decrease, our portion of their rent increases. So balancing those items, we determined we needed to take some initial actions to slow down our leasing activity.
Slowing down meant essentially freezing new applications for the voucher program in October of last year. Since then, it's reported that 85,000 Michigan residents have been waitlisted.
We had to suspend our waiting list draws and voucher issuance. So folks on our regular waiting list, to include the homeless preference, we had to suspend those waiting list draws and voucher issuances, and that was effective immediately.
But no one's being added. The list keeps growing, and the individuals stuck waiting are left without a solution.
I mean, the impact on individuals is huge because now they might be in a situation where they're staying in a place that's not really meant for human habitation. They might be double or tripling up with family members and getting to that point where it's just really hard to continue staying there. And we are seeing some people actually end up in homelessness.
That was Mark Shillette reporting. You can find out more information on that story on our website, UpNorthLive.com. Well, today is Indigenous Peoples Day, and it was marked with a community celebration in Leelanau County. So this afternoon, an Anishinaabe history marker was dedicated. You were seeing a video of that right now at the Leelanau Historical Society. The Anishinaabe History Project began in 2020 with a plan for 9 markers to be placed around Grand Traverse and Leelanau counties. Now, this second marker that you're seeing video of right now, that represents one of the 7 grandfather teachings, which is respect. And today's event was co-hosted by the Grand Traverse Band of Ottawa and Chippewa Indians and the Fishtown Preservation. All right, I know we have a lot of stories. We have one more to give you before we take our first commercial break. So the Little Traverse Conservancy has been a leader in land protection for more than 50 years now. And this month, it announced a new initiative. So our meteorologist, Trevor Robideau, explains how this new initiative will focus on protecting a growing number of properties.
52 years ago, 7 gentlemen in Harbor Springs sat around a kitchen table and said, hey, let's start protecting land in northern Michigan. This is a really special place and we should protect it. And a great way to protect it is by owning it through nature preserves and working forest reserves.
Fast forward 52 years, the Little Traverse Conservancy was looking for more efficient ways to protect a lot of land at once. So the LTC created the Wild Shores Initiative, aimed at protecting hundreds upon hundreds of yards of our Great Lakes shorelines.
So we are now putting these projects together as opposed to just going one by one and putting a ton of energy into one project. And sometimes it's hard to fundraise for projects that are more remote in rural areas. Typically, it's easier to protect land that's closer to a town. You know, think about Harbor Springs or Petoskey or Charlevoix.
Land protection with this initiative will be done by outright purchasing land. This way, the LTC can be the forever caretakers of that land and share it with the community.
We're going to open some of them to hunting if that's relevant. We're going to open some of them to access to the lakes. And some of them we're going to keep as natural as possible because some of them just are inclined to that. You know, they're going to be harder to access, whether it's roads or water. But the goal is in these cases to have nature preserves. And so we own the property and we are forever the caretaker of that land.
The Wild Shores Initiative also means focusing on key areas the Conservancy wants to protect.
We have a great 5-year strategic plan that says a few core areas. So one we already have been focusing on is the Maple River. We've called it the Maple River Initiative. And in the last 5 years, we've doubled our protection along the river. It's just a key watershed area. It feeds into Burt Lake and the inland waterway. That's going to continue to be our focus area.
The LTC hopes this initiative will bring a sense of community to everyone by protecting the North Country we all love.
So I hope when people see a nature preserve sign go up, they instantly feel a sense of community. Whether they donate to us or not, they know that that's their land too, that they can enjoy. They can go for walks. They can hunt on it if they want. Maybe, I mean, especially in this case, they could fish, but feeling connected to nature because nature is part of our community too.
In northern Michigan, Trevor Robideau, Up North Live News.
In just a few minutes, we're going to bring in Joe back into the conversation to talk much more on the forecast. But the big story today is it's finally getting a little colder out there. And that is why we asked for a question of the day today. Have you turned on the furnace yet? So you can scan that QR code right now to leave your vote. And I'll tell you at this moment, 74% of people have voted yes, they have already. 26% have voted no. And if you are someone who voted yes, this is just a little teaser into Joe's segment. He already mentioned this, but you might want to turn the furnace off a little later this week. So Joe will have much more on the rest of the forecast for the week coming up in just a few minutes.
I'm Jada Johnson from Big Boy TV, and the Fish and Game Report is sponsored by Johnson's Propane.
Well, we have another interesting weather week here in northern Michigan. So for more on that, let's turn things over to Joe Charlevoix. So Joe, we have today's cooler, tomorrow cooler again, and then things seem to warm up on Wednesday.
Yeah, so the first 2 days of the week, a little chilly. Tomorrow will be just like today, maybe even a few more showers, and then we're going to warm up. I mean, it's possible some spots by the weekend could be around 70.
Wow.
Again, so
in October.
Kind of add this up, really up and down.
Yeah.
Lately. Let's go to Gaylord. This is what it looked like through the day today, and it kind of looks like fall, definitely. We've got a lot of low clouds, a couple showers around as well, and even a few peaks of sun here and there at times through the day today. So this was sunrise. You can see a little bit of that sunshine, and then, you know, right there, and then a couple clouds through the afternoon into this evening. Here's a look at the weather map tonight. So well off of Maine is an area of low pressure in New Hampshire. And then all that blue shaded, all areas back to the Dakotas, that's all the cool air, including for us here in northern Michigan, we have a wind right out of the north, which is keeping it on the chilly side. One other thing to note, there's a look at that rain we had yesterday. It was, you know, if you're up in the UP and Straits, it didn't get a lot right there. And then, but south of a Charlevoix Alpena line, we had a pretty good rain at times yesterday. All that's left of that right now is just a few showers. We've had a little bit of rain at times, a couple light showers crossing over northern Michigan. There has not been a lot of rain, but there have been a few showers around. So what we expect going forward now, a little bit of rain, maybe a snowflake or two mixing in tonight. There won't be a lot of rain. And then tomorrow, you know, maybe a little sun early in the day, but then look at here, you see these showers pretty widespread. I think a little better chance for rain tomorrow than what we had today. The pink shaded areas there near Alpena, between there and Sheboygan, that's where we might, you know, see a couple wet snowflakes mixing in perhaps tomorrow. And then these lake effect showers will continue tomorrow afternoon and evening, tomorrow night, before winding down on Wednesday. Skies Wednesday turning partly cloudy. So Wednesday looks nice, and that's the beginning of another dry and warm stretch. So we'll get into Wednesday afternoon, and then we'll take you out through Thursday, and not even a cloud around. Thursday, even Friday, looking nice with lots of sunshine. Cool weather. There's a look at temperatures. I mean, north of Lake Superior, it's only been in the 30s today. Back in northern Michigan, back home, this is how warm it got today. That's it, 40s and 50s. It was the coolest day of fall so far. But you see the trend, the warm up. 40s tomorrow, 50s Wednesday, and then we get into the 60s. And again, some spots I would not be surprised at all by the weekend, maybe getting close to and touching 70 degrees. Outdoor outlook, if you have outdoor plans, we'll put the yellow caution up tomorrow because there will be a little rain and showers around tomorrow. Kind of a showery day at times. But then Wednesday and Thursday looking dry, so no problems there. And here is the extended forecast. Warming up, Wednesday partly cloudy, Thursday and Friday sunshine, temperatures in the 60s, maybe a shower up in the UP Saturday. But you see the trend, Maya, we mentioned the cool day tomorrow, and then, you know, we start getting back into the 60s mid to late week, right through next weekend.
It's crazy seeing the 70 come up for next Monday.
Right.
When today is so
It's like
cold.
45 today, yeah, for sure.
Well, thanks so much, Joe, for that. We're going to take another quick break, but when we come back, we will check in with sports director Harrison Beebe, and we will take a look at some of the best plays from the high school football field on Friday, right after the break. Well, we have a lot to talk about in sports, but first, let's take a look at some of the best plays from the high school football field. And don't forget, you can vote for this week's Prep Plays of the Week by going to our website, UpNorthLive.com.
Time now to get a look at your prep plays of the week. We start with Mason County Central. Great season for the Spartans. Peyton Murs, a big reason why. Check out this great play against Hesperia, running in and out of defenders. Doesn't get in the end zone, but man, he logged the miles on the ground. Go to Petoskey now. Marquette, their opponent, trying to make something happen, but it's intercepted one-handed by Mason Freilich. Northman win a close 5-point game on their field to take the lead in the Big North Conference. Traverse City West at home taking on Mount Pleasant. Owen Hendricks airing it out, and it bounces off a defender and into the hands of Alexander Scholl for a huge catch and a first down for the Titans at Thurlby Field. And finally, wrapping up our nominees, Jackson Bennett of Mansalona takes the ball, dodges defenders left and right before he has a clear opening to run all the way to the end zone for the Ironmen. Can vote for these candidates on our website, UpNorthLive.com. We'll reveal the top choice for your prep play of the week during sports at 11.
All right, now let's bring in Harrison Beebe to talk some more sports. And Harrison, I think we got to start off with the bittersweet Lions victory.
Well, first, Maya, I want to know what your pick is for the prep play of the week.
Well, I'm a little biased, but that Alexander Scholl catch that bounced off the defenders, I was there. I shot that play. I witnessed that in person, so that's why I'm a little biased.
Oh,
A lot of good plays, but that was a good one.
All right. Well, I might have to hint to my bias that Mason Freilich was the highlight I shot, and I thought that was pretty cool, so I voted for that. But you at home can vote for yours. Yeah, you know, a tough weekend for Detroit sports all around to have the Tigers gut punch on Saturday. And yeah, super exciting to see the Lions just bulldoze the Cowboys Sunday afternoon down at Jerry World. But yeah, Aiden Hutchinson, we can't, you know, Dan Campbell addressed it in his press conference today. Like, it is a loss, and it is something you can't really replace. I know there's a lot of rumors of the Lions potentially going into the trade market now to bring in another defensive end to really have that impact. But is there a way to replace Aiden Hutchinson? He was the league leader in sacks at 7.5, I think, right now. So, I mean, that's besides Jared Goff, he is the number 2 guy on this lineup that you do not want to be without. And so the Lions are still a very talented team, of course, but there's going to be some adjustments now without him on that D-line.
Yep, definitely a huge loss for the Lions. Thanks, Harrison, for joining us. And the Hutchinson family did just post that Aiden is recovering well, and he is on the road to recovery at this point. Well, that'll do it for sports, but stick around. We'll be right back in a few minutes. We'll check in with our question of the day and those live results.
Salon services are furnished by Epiphany Advanced Academy in East Acme.
Well, today has been the coldest day of the fall season so far, so we want to know if you have already turned your furnace on yet. You can scan the QR code on your screen right now to vote. It looks like 76% of people say yep, and 24% say no. Looking at our comments on our Facebook post, Kathy says yes for a week now. Cindy says yes, but on for a week now. Refuse to be cold in my house. Judy says no, but have used my gas fireplace. Melissa says nope, but the wood stove has been real cozy. Cindy says yes. Jane says yes. Mindy says no, I'm still trying to mentally, emotionally, and financially prepare for it. And Mindy, I can certainly relate to that. I know I have not turned mine on yet. I'm just bundling up and having a little dog sleep next to me. He keeps me warm at night, even though he's little. He has a lot of heat to him, so I have not turned mine on yet, in case you were wondering. Well, that'll do it for Up North Live Unscripted on this Monday evening. Thanks so much for joining us. We hope to see you back here tonight on Up North Live News at 11.